Good Thursday evening. Meteorologist Alex Carter with you here for another edition of Weather Aware Live. It's been a minute. We haven't had much active weather recently other than last weekend, some showers and thunderstorms. Looking at a very similar picture for this evening, overnight tonight, and through Friday morning. And that's going to be the highest chance for rain that we have for quite a while around here. I still think we'll be dry this weekend. I think we'll be dry next week. So that's the forecast in a nutshell. But we're going to be talking about these showers that we are actively tracking across the area right now. Going to let a few of you filter in as we head into the next couple of minutes here. And then once we get past them, we'll take a live look at radar, kind of what's happening around the southeast. Very active weather today across parts of not just Georgia and South Carolina, but Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee at this hour. And we'll be showing you some of that as well as these storms continue to roll on through. But yeah, some pretty heavy storms back towards Alabama tonight. Us, we're just getting a good soaking rain. Boy, do we need it. We need about 6 to 10 inches of rain over the next 30 days to break out of this drought. And so if you're watching us, let us know where you're listening from. If you have any questions about the forecast, feel free to ask as well. We're going to dive into not just tonight, we're going to dive into the next 7 days because there's a lot of ebbs and flows that we'll be touching on in that forecast, especially for next week as well. Very interesting discussions there. So let's go ahead and show you radar at this hour. Pretty active, and I'm going to go ahead and turn off the amount of sweeps that we have. We got all 4 radars going. I'm going to go ahead and turn off I'll turn off that, and I'll turn off Charleston for just a minute. So here's the 2 main areas that we're watching. Mainly right now, a cluster of showers that's really moving across parts of Aiken, Barnwell, Bamberg counties, and, of course, Richmond and northern Burke. So if you're in McBean, if you're in Jackson, which we actually visited today, Jackson Middle School, the Jackson STEM Magnet Middle, great kids, great students. They had a lot of inquisitive questions. They were just a pleasure to work with today, and we had a lot of fun teaching them more about the world of weather. There's the Augusta-Aiken area getting some rain right now, some pretty decent downpours. Barnwell, Bamberg, New Ellington, Savannah Riverside, all these places getting in on some pretty good soaking rain at this time. And then we take it a little bit further back, off towards the north, areas like Washington, Lincolnton, McCormick, even a few rumbles of thunder being observed in these areas. You see that right along Highway 378. So if you're in Washington or Lincolnton, getting some really heavy downpours, all of this is needed, significantly so. We'll actually put up the drought monitor so you can see that a little bit better. Look at where we're at. And this is the latest drought monitor update that came in today. Extreme drought up near Washington, Lincolnton, and McCormick. Severe drought across Evans, Martinez, Edgefield, Thompson, Warrenton, Crawfordville, Appling, Mistletoe State Park, areas around Clarks Hill Lake. And then you take it further south, severe to extreme drought in parts of Emmanuel County and in Millen, Sylvania, and Allendale. So we need the rain. And again, this complex is far from over because we are seeing plenty more of these showers rolling in tonight. Let's zoom in on a few of these areas. And I'm going to go ahead and stop the time lapse and just take it to now. That's a heavy storm. I mean, look at that. I mean, we're going up near just to the north of Atlanta to the mountains, and there is a significant potential hailstorm with lots of lightning moving across the North Georgia mountains at this hour. Zooming out, look at Alabama right now, getting slammed by a lot of hail, a lot of strong to severe thunderstorms at this time. All this is headed in our direction. And it is going to get a lot weaker as it moves in. So there's a lot more of a stable environment here in the 2-state with a lot of cooler, more drier air than what's back in Alabama right now. And that's why we're not going to see nearly the severe weather threat that they do have. The only chance of any inclement weather is just going to be maybe some short-lived minor road ponding later tonight and early Friday morning. That's something we'll watch for your commute. But again, we have seen a decent amount of rain since this morning north of I-20. Areas like Edgefield, Minetta, South Carolina, Ridge Spring, New Holland, South Carolina, and northern Aiken County, Washington, Lincolnton, Crawfordville, McCormick. You've been getting up to about a half an inch to an inch of rain. I'll actually zoom in on some of those totals here. That's about an inch there up near New Holland. Going up towards Edgefield. Johnston, Trenton getting in on about 1 to 1.5 inches of rain. Let's go to Washington, about a half an inch of rain. Lincolnton, about a half an inch to an inch. McCormick, half an inch to an inch. And if you're in Augusta, Evans, Martinez, all these totals are moving south too. So we're about to see a lot more rain tonight. It's actually just getting started. From this point to Saturday at 1 p.m., we're still expecting 1 to 2 inches of extra rain. So that goes to show you we are far from over with this particular event, and that's a good thing. We need it to be that way because at this hour, we really have to, as of at this hour, I mean, we've got a lot of showers and storms that are coming in. So I've got some comments here. Let's see. Thank you for that notification, Joseph. I appreciate that. I will check the email on that. So I will look into that. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Gina says she wants thunderstorms. Gina, good evening. Thanks for always reaching out. Appreciate your interactions. Gina, I do think a few rumbles of thunder are possible, but the atmosphere is still pretty stable, so it's going to take a lot to hear some booms of thunder, but you will get a good heavy rain at times today and tonight and early tomorrow. Bobby, thanks for joining us. I appreciate that, and I hope you're doing well in Gator Country. Johnny, yep, it is going to be a rainy night around here. Words of Brooke Benton, we got a rainy night in Georgia, or if you love a rainy night, Eddie Rabbit alert. We've got it coming in over the next few hours, that's for sure. So we have about 1 to 2 inches of rain still left on the table that's going to be moving in tonight. Let's show you, again, the drought monitor. Again, we need 6 to 10 inches in the next month. So what we get the rest of tonight is not going to break us out of the drought. It might knock us down from a severe drought to a moderate drought, maybe. But we are still a long ways away from where we need to be, especially with the growing season just around the corner. You know, that average last freeze is only at about March 21st. So we're not too far away from, growing things and the warmer air and really taking over. And I think it's going to take over for much of next week. So let's break down kind of where we're headed over the next few hours, kind of how this shakes out for your night and tomorrow morning. Moving forward to about 9, 10 o'clock. There it is, training bands. We talk about that a lot. Training, no, we're not training for a marathon. We're talking about when rain bands are moving in the same direction very slowly over a long period of time. That's exactly what takes place overnight. I do think there's a few areas that could see some short-lived minor road ponding. The ground is very dry. It's just like when you're thirsty in the summertime. When you need the water, you're not going to be waterlogged. It doesn't matter if you drink a whole bottle of it. It doesn't matter if you do all that. You're still going to need the water. The ground is really in need. It's thirsty. So whatever is actually getting, whatever rain's coming down, it's going to get absorbed really fast. So the water's not going to collect at the surface as much. So the flood threat next to none tonight. Some short-lived minor road ponding by tomorrow morning for the Friday morning commute. I also think that's possible. Here it is. We head into the next several hours. Looking at that, I mean, look at this. This is at about 3 in the morning and some good sleeping weather tonight. I can assure you of that. Some really good sleeping weather is on the way, and we're going to have a wet night and a wet start to tomorrow. I'm looking to see here if we got any. Yep, there we go. Thank you guys for that. And so let's move it through the rest of the morning tomorrow. This is at about 5 to 6 a.m., and look at this. If we get enough instability, which I think is rather questionable, a couple thunderstorms will be possible early tomorrow, but this is going to be a heavy rain that's moving through. Please be careful on the roads tomorrow morning. We will likely have some short-lived minor road ponding if we get that persistent enough rain. So that's something that we'll be watching out for sure. Moving forward into tomorrow, keep it going till about 8 to 9 o'clock. Notice how most of the rain shifting south by the mid to late morning hours. So the heaviest of the pockets of rain are from now through the next 12 hours. We get past 8 to 9 o'clock, and a lot of this begins to subside a good bit. Let's move it forward into tomorrow. I think the highest chances of rain are going to be in the first half of the day. We get to the afternoon, and I think a lot of this rain begins to slack off a good bit. Temperatures will be in the mid-60s. I do think we'll get a few breaks in the clouds by late tomorrow. So tomorrow around 4 to 6, 7 o'clock, I think the clouds will start to break. I do think we'll get a view at sunset, but I don't think it's going to be much. So something to keep in mind for tomorrow is the clouds will be with us, and if you're banking on rain, I think your Friday night plans should be dry. It's the rain that I'm most concerned about is Friday morning. That's when most of this is settling in, and it finally looks to get away by Friday night for sure. Let's break this down on the Futurecast. So this is at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. The cold front begins to sweep down south, and by lunch, most of us will begin to dry out. The clouds, notice the clearing line is behind the actual rain front itself. It's going to take a while for that to scour out, but there we are. And I'm going to go ahead and back this up. This is around, say, give or take 4 o'clock, 4 to 5. You see a few breaks in the clouds closer to sunset. We could get a view of it in a few places. Then let's move it forward into the overnight hours, Friday night into Saturday. The winds will be calm. We'll have a lot of ground moisture. I think we're going to see some dense fog on Friday morning. Or Saturday morning, excuse me. Dense fog on Saturday morning is a very good possibility. You'll see that here. You see some patchy dense fog, of course, and wherever the ground moisture is lingering, that's where we're going to see it. It clears out, though, by the middle of the day. And watch what happens once we get to the middle of the day here. So there it is, hanging strong through the morning. Evaporates instantly. And then we get to the afternoon on Saturday, and it looks gorgeous. Your weekend will be phenomenal weather-wise. We are looking at upper 60s and sunshine Saturday afternoon. We're looking at upper 70s on Sunday, but not so fast. Notice we warm up, and then we start to cool down a little bit. That is a cold air wedge that we are going to be watching out for. Cold air wedge, nothing new for us here in the CSRA. Here's kind of what that looks like. So next week's setup, it's going to be warm and sunny this weekend. Next week, here's what we're watching. We got a slow-moving front that's going to be up to our north. A lot of snow in the Midwest and the Great Plains. That snow, it's not making it down here for the record. We're done with winter when it comes to the wintry weather. We're done here in the deep south. Now, this cold front's going to be to our north this weekend. So, in fact, it's going to stay warm and sunny. The cold front's going to make it south, and if high pressure to the north is strong enough, that cold air is going to move in on the backside of the Appalachian Mountains. And what that will do is it will potentially move in from the east and give us some cooler weather Monday and Tuesday of next week. That's growing like an increasing likelihood. So I think the cold air wedge is something that we might have to get used to for a little bit. And here's kind of a model comparison of that. So this is next week. Look at the GFS model. Look at the Euro model. I'm going to take myself off the screen so you can see kind of a comparison of both. So this is the cold air wedge setup that we're watching for next week. GFS model, which tends to be a little bit more aggressive with the wedges, has us in the upper 40s to mid-50s. That would be a big change of pace. That's why we kept temperatures right at about 59, 60 for the forecast right now, playing that middle ground. Euro has a wedge, but it's a lot weaker of a wedge, and it mainly is confined to the Appalachians and not so much the entire mid-Atlantic coast and two-state. Euro would keep us in the upper 60s, low 70s, which that would be nice. I just don't see that happening. Wedges tend to get aggressive, and I think we'll see one. I think the truth lies somewhere in the middle. I don't think we're going to be at GFS levels, 52 degrees, upper 40s in our northern counties, cold gray, but I don't think it's going to be the sunniest day, and I don't think it's going to be the warmest either. So this is next Tuesday, and I do think some much cooler, cloudy conditions will briefly move in, but it's not going to last for long because you'll see this here in the 7-day forecast. Here we go. 7-day forecast showing you that cooler pattern for Monday and Tuesday. But next Wednesday and Thursday, warming back up into the mid to upper 70s. We will have some sunshine back into the fold, and it's looking really good for late next week. There's going to be just a couple interruptions. So the messy weather continues through Friday morning. Once we get past the clouds Saturday morning, we're good for the weekend. Get slightly cooler on Monday. Cold and cloudy, brief disruption to everything on Tuesday. And then we get to next week looking really nice Wednesday and Thursday, mid to upper 70s. We'll get some sunshine back and all that good stuff. So that's kind of a breakdown of what we're expecting over the next several days. I hope that helps out. And we're going to get back to radar in just a moment to close things out. But that's kind of a breakdown of where we're headed over the next 7. Here's Doppler radar one last time tonight. Again, widespread blanket of showers, few embedded rumbles of thunder mixed in, but this is just going to be a good soaking rain, and just be careful on that Monday or Friday morning commute as we head into the next several days. So that's the latest from the Weather Center. Weather Aware Live here. Again, we do this whenever the weather gets active, talking about your questions, the forecast, and looking ahead into next week. It's spring. We're going to get ebbs and flows. By April, those ebbs and flows usually break, and it's going to be pretty consistently warm. So we still got another month to go of the back and forth, but just know that warmer days are ahead. We're going to feel some of that this weekend. Rain-free, sunshine. It'll be the best weekend that we have had so far weather-wise in 2026. Hope you all have a safe night. Stay dry. Be careful on that Friday morning commute. This has been another edition of Weather Aware Live. More updates tonight on Fox 54 News at 10 and 11. Hope you join us.